Welcome to the Elevated Freedom Podcast, the community where everyone works to reach their goals together. For our first-time listeners, thanks for being here. We're glad you made it and can't wait to be a part of your journey to a better, more elevated life. For our regular listeners, welcome back, and thanks for continuing to take time for yourself and conquering your goals with us. Elevated Freedom is a community of like-minded people finding new levels of success through consistency and discipline. Let's get into this week's episode.
Exciting week this week, a lot of big things are coming. First thing that's here is this will be our first video podcast that we'll be releasing. It'll be on YouTube for sure. And we still have to figure out the inner workings of the social medias, but if you want to see video podcasts, get more personal, get in with us, check out our YouTube. Brandon, how you doing today?
Doing good, man. It's the first week of the video podcast, so everybody's going to finally get to see our ugly mugs and see the people that have been talking to them through the microphone for the last 11 weeks. So that's exciting, man. I'm ready for it. Like you said, I think it's a more personable touch. Put a face to the words and the motivation that we're speaking to people, and I think it'll be beneficial for everybody to kind of get to know us a little bit better. So I'm excited about it. We'll see how it goes.
We're just cruising down the roads of, these things and building and changing with elevated freedom and in our lives. And that leads us really good into our topic today of the roads less traveled. Now, I have a quote that I found, and it really speaks to this directly. It's by Robert Frost. He said, 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and it made all the difference. So, just sitting in your everyday life, you have to really look into it and find out which road you're on. And when you hit that yield sign and the fork splits, which road are you going to pick?
Yeah, man. And I think that's something that people struggle with, which is you have to recognize, like you said, the road that you're on. So the road that we're on, people live and they make these decisions. And it was something that I was thinking about when we were talking about this podcast this week, which is, as I was doing research, there was a study done and people were saying that, people want to be healthy, right? Like everybody wants to be healthy. I don't think there's anybody in the world that doesn't want to be healthy. But there was this person and she had said, well, these people that are sick, that are overweight, well, they just choose to be unhealthy. Well, that's just not true. I would say as a universal thing, everybody wants to be healthy. And most people know the right decisions. And that's something that you and I struggled with in this roller coaster of health, right? Choosing the right road. There was times we chose the right road and there was times we didn't. But what we're trying to do here is build a consistency and discipline through this community of people that are helping one another to stay on the right road all the time and always choose that road that is less traveled most of the time. There's so many ways to be unhealthy. There's so many choices that can lead you to eating the wrong foods or choosing not to work out. But we want to get on the right road and we want to stay there as consistently as possible. And that's everything we want to do for people. So, like you said, recognize the road you're on. Realize the decisions you make are what keep you on that road. And let's work together. Let us help you, hold you accountable to get you on that road and be consistently on the right road. And a lot of time, it's the road less traveled. But it's the road that's going to lead you to happiness and the confidence that you're seeking. So that's a great quote to start the podcast. I love that. And I've heard that quote before. So that's awesome, man. I love that.
Yeah, I think while we get into this podcast, I think we should start right at the beginning. So you're headed down, the road that everybody goes on. Everybody's down this road, and you hit that fork, and you look to your left, and you see dark and trees and mud and woods and big hills, and you look to your left or your right, sorry, and you see a well-lit path that's paved and there's other people on it and there's fun and all this stuff. So the temptation is gonna be there to go down that road. But I'm telling you right now, just from the year that we've been doing this, don't go down that road. Go down the road that's hard. yeah, you're gonna have big uphills. You're gonna have big downhills. It's not gonna be fun. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be all of these things that suck. But on the other side of it, you're gonna be good. It's gonna feel way more progressive. Now we get into this culture and into this world where we feel like we have to stay on the road because on that nice road they have GPS. They're going to tell you where to go. They're going to tell you what to do. Societal norms are going to tell you you need to follow this road. Take your left turn in 500 feet. But on the other road, you don't have that. You have you're barely. It's like naked and afraid. You don't have anything. You're just there. You're trying to make it work. You don't have these helping things. But it's going to be way more rewarding because on that GPS road, the nice road, who's in control of that? You're not. I'm telling you that right now. You need to go on the other road so that way you can have the control. It's your life. And we've talked about this in previous episodes. This is your life. And if you're on the other road, when you get to the entrance of that road, you walk in, there's a Tesla dealership to your right, and you just get the autopilot. You set cruise control. You let it go. And by the time you're 40, 50 years old, now what? This Tesla's been driving you down this road this whole time, but you don't know what else to do because it's been driving you. You're 40, 50 years old and you're like, man, I didn't do anything. But the homeless looking guy that was in the trenches on the other road back in your 20s is now wearing a suit and now has the nice cars. Now has whatever it is that you want in life if it's not nice cars or whatever. But they took the hard road. And now you're in your Tesla as beat down that was driving you through life. So just think about that when you hit that road, that crossroads, that yield sign. Which way are you going to go? Think about that.
Yeah, man, that's powerful. And part of that too is what I want people to realize is there's always going to be forks. Like you get on that road, you get on the right road, right? And you get on that road to where you're bettering yourself and you're improving every day. And like you said, you're putting yourself in a position where you can actually enjoy life when you get to the end of this road and you put the work in and it's hard. But when you get on this road, there's always going to be another fork, right? There's always going to be those options. But the difference between you at the beginning and making the choice to start in the right direction and you when you get a year, 2 years, 5 years down the road is that you're going to have the confidence, which is what we talked about before we started recording today. And it's one of the biggest things I think that we've gained through this transformation in our lives and being on the right road through our accountability partnership, through what we're trying to share with everybody else, is we have the confidence now to look at that other road and think, I know that's not where I want to be. I know that's not it. Like I know fully and wholeheartedly that the road that I've taken that is harder at times. It is more challenging. Do I want to run every day? No. Do I want to get up early and do some extra work? Do I want to read this self-development book? No, not necessarily. Not every day. But I now have the confidence to look at that other road and know that that's not the right road. That was the road that took me to the fattest I've ever been. That was the road that took me to being depressed, to being unhappy with who I was, to looking in the mirror, trying to avoid even looking in the mirror because I was just so annoyed with where I was in life. So, on this road that we are going to help you get to through this community, we're going to build the confidence and the consistency. And like you and I talked about earlier this week, what did we both say this week earlier? We said there is no way we would still be here if it was our old selves. We would have hit that roller coaster, we would have hit that dip again, and we would have went back to our old selves. And this is everything we're trying to share, which is you don't have to do the roller coaster anymore. You can get on the right road and be confident enough to make the decision to stay on that road every day through discipline and consistency, through the help of having other like-minded people to push you in the right direction every day. And that's the whole freaking thing, man. And it's so exciting. And that was such a powerful conversation we had this week, realizing and having that ability to realize that this is why we're here. We're here because we literally work together through the accountability that we developed. That's why we're still successful. And it's awesome, man. I love it.
I think that brings on a very big part of this too. Is in the beginning you're going to be walking with your friends, you're going to be hanging out, you're going to be having a good time, but you're going to see that dark road and you're like, think I'm going to take that one. I'm going to take the road less traveled. But your friends, they're not going to. They're going to be like, but there's a Starbucks up there on that one. I want the Starbucks. And you're like, cool, man. Like, have fun. But I'm going this way. And that's going to happen. It's the inevitable beast of what it is. Success as a whole, and it is said by so many of the hyper successful people. Andy Frisella, Ed Milet, Bedros Keuilian, like all of them. They all say it. It is very, very lonely. Even if you're surrounded by all these people. It's very lonely. Because a lot of these people don't have the same ideas of you as you, because you took that road less traveled. You took the road to success. So here at Elevated Freedom is what we're trying to say is like, we're going to be there for you. There's going to be so many people in your life that will push you down for just wanting to be better. Why? Because that's a self-confidence thing for them. But you know you're better. You chose that road, but they didn't. And now they want to bring you down for it. Don't let that happen. Join us here at Elevated Freedom. Because I'm never going to tell you, I don't care what your goal is. I really don't. I will help you with your goal. And I know Brandon will do the same. Like, there's nothing in life, if you're striving for something, that I'm going to push you down for. Because if you are actually striving to be a better person, to go shoot for that next thing and be the better version of yourself, self-mastery, through physical fitness, maybe it's in your job, you want that raise. How can I help you? How can I help you with that? Other people are going to talk down to that. Because there comes a time in success where, you know, you're working on it and people are going to be, your friends and family are going to be supportive. Just like when we started Elevated Freedom, like, oh yeah. And we're still getting that from our friends and family. Like, oh, you guys are doing great. Yeah, you know, but that's going to fade away. And at times, those same people are going to be like, well, you know, why are you doing this? Well, because I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Is it easy to get on and do the podcast every week? Actually, yes, I like doing it. But editing, managing social media, all this other stuff that comes with all of this, on top of our daily jobs, on top of our school, or whatever we're doing in that day, working out, training for a marathon. Is it hard to add this extra thing onto it? Yeah. I can sit on the couch. But in 20 years from now, when I'm still sitting on that same couch thinking, well, maybe I should have done something, then there's going to come regret. And regret is just missed opportunities that you didn't take, that you knew that you should have done. So forget about those, not forget about, but take those friends in and try to have them come on that road with you. And if they don't, I'm sorry, it's time to go. It's time to, you know, change that relationship that you have with them. Because if you want to be a successful person, these things are going to happen. It's happened to me just in the short year. It's happened to all of these successful people. So it's not going to be any different. So here at Elevated Freedom, we're going to help you. Like I said again, I don't care what your goal is. Is it fitness? Is it financial? Is it your work? I don't care. Join us here at Elevated Freedom. Let's build a community. Because as you travel down this hard road, you need that support in some ways. Because it's hard. And we'll be here to support you regardless of what it is. That's how I feel about that.
And what I've learned about that topic is, like you said, like there's always these people on the outside talking whichever way about you. But what's consistently always been the same to me in my roller coaster of being better and being worse and being better is, at first everybody supports you. And like you said, the first week of the podcast, the first 3 weeks of the podcast, your family's still like, well, that's really cool, man. Like, we're really glad you're doing that. That's really cool. But 12 weeks in, I don't really hear as much about that stuff anymore, right? Then it starts to become real. Now we're choosing to have to get on there and do it because the motivation is gone, which we've talked about in other podcasts. You know, motivation is temporary. You need the discipline to keep going. But what I'm trying to get at is that the community that we're forming is going to be that consistency. That's going to be that person that's always telling you, hey, you should get out there and knock out that workout. You should get out there and do that extra work when you get home so maybe you can get that promotion. Because that initial, oh, I'm going to get in shape. Oh, I lost 20 pounds. Everybody said, man, you're starting to look good. When that goes away, that's when it gets real. That's when it gets hard. And that's when you actually have to start making the decision to keep going. And that's where typically, if you guys are anything like me, that's where the roller coaster starts happening. Because you felt really good, people started complimenting you, and then all of a sudden that stuff stopped. And then you realize that this was just who you were now. People weren't saying anything to you. And I'm not saying that you need that, but what I'm saying is with a community of people that hold you accountable to the fact that, well, the compliments are gone, but now you actually have somebody saying, hey man, get out there and knock it out, and like motivating you and like, man, that was a good workout, like good work. Or on the days you don't feel good, like, man, that happens. Just keep going, put your head down. It's worth it. The next run will be better. And those are the things that we want to do through a community like this. We want people to realize that they aren't alone in this journey, and you don't have to be alone. It doesn't have to be harder. It's already going to be hard. It's hard to do the things to choose the right road when your friends are going to the brewery, or your friends are going to sit around and drink all night. Like, it's hard to choose to go to the gym, or to choose to stay home and study to learn something to make yourself better. But with a community of people helping you, it's not as hard. So we're not saying we want to make it easy. All we're saying is let us help you and let us give you the tools necessary to make that right decision and choose the right road. But going along with that, a quote that I actually got from the book, The Road Less Traveled, is, until you value yourself, you won't value your time. Until you value your time, you will not do anything with it. And I think that is a huge part of this episode this week, which is, in order to do this stuff, and once you get to this point, you start valuing your time. That's what I want for everybody, because that's something I've learned through this journey, is that my hours are valuable. Like you said earlier, sitting on the couch, 20 years from now, you're sitting on the couch, or, people that are listening, if you're sitting on the couch right now, if you value your time, you'll recognize why you probably shouldn't do that 6 hours a day. I'm not saying you can't sit on the couch with your family and enjoy a movie on a Friday night. Like, that's not what we're saying. This isn't boot camp, right? Our military background, but this is real life. And if you want to enjoy life, you have to value your time. If you don't value your time, what are you actually doing? You're not living, you're not experiencing, like we talked about last week with nature. Like, if you don't value your time, how do you appreciate the things when you're out there? Like, what you put your time in, your time is the most valuable thing. Everybody says it, but unless you value that time, that has no value, right? Without valuing it, it means nothing. And that's why people waste their time and waste their lives, and choose not to get better and choose to not choose the right road. It's so important to sit back, analyze, and we've talked about this in other podcasts, so go back and check it out, how to block out your day and make sure you're making the most of every day. But understand that the basic concept is, in order to be successful, you have to value your time, and realize that the time that you're putting into all of these things matters. If we quit the podcast after 12 weeks, all of that time we put into it would have been for nothing. But like Matt said earlier, this is the first week of the video podcast. We went from first week being scared to get on these microphones to 12 weeks later, we're about to release the first video podcast. We released the questionnaire to try to help people. We're prepping for a marathon. We're doing our jobs. Because we value our time, this is worth it. We're here because we value our time, and we value the fact that we learned something through this process that we think can help everybody else. And we want to be the ones to help you get there, because I know for me, and I know for Matt, I want nothing more than to see people do the things they know they should do, and to choose the right road, and to finally get in shape for the last time, and not ever go back to being that old person. Because I know for me, I'm never going back, man. This is the happiest I've ever been. This is the most confident I've ever been. And I can't wait to finish that marathon in May, and then go on to the next journey and the next goal, and keep crushing stuff. And hopefully every one of you guys that are listening will do it with us, because it's worth it, man. It's worth it, and you'll value your time, and you'll be better for it.
Oh, that was really good. And another thing on top of that too, like just from what Brandon was closing out on with, like, we want to help you. And one thing you're gonna notice is when you travel down this road, we're gonna give you the plank to cross the stream, but then you get to keep that plank, right? So then later on, when you're down your road, there's gonna be somebody that needs it, and then you're gonna give it to them, and you're gonna watch them grow. And I want you guys to feel the satisfaction of seeing other people get on and crush their goals too, because there is nothing in this world like it. I'm telling you, just from the very few people, thank you for who you are, but the very few people that have reached out to us here, like at Elevated Freedom, and gave us that good feedback, like, you just put me on the top of the world. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Hey, I listened to it and I did this because of it. That's fantastic. I feel great because I helped you. And that's what we're trying. This is a community. How do we change the world around us? By being the change. So if we grow together as a community, helping each other out, having us give you that accountability partner, then we can just keep growing and keep growing and keep growing. And then maybe we can be the actual change that this world needs. Because if you look at the news, you look at all this stuff, obviously there's some things that need to be changed. Now, I'm not trying to be a magic man, and we're not trying to, change the whole entire world in a day. That's not going to happen, but it starts with one person. But right now we have two. It's me and Brandon. And then as people come on, we'll have more. And just think of this community, and we're going to build. And sooner rather than later, across the world, we're going to know what EFC is, Elevated Freedom. And we're just going to be like, oh, you listen to Elevated Freedom too? Well, let's talk about our goals. And it's going to be this beautiful, big community of people that are just crushing their goals and being the example for the people around them. So help us help you. I'm not perfect. We're a year into this. I still struggle every day. This is the Everyday Man's podcast. We still have daily lives. We still have daily things that we have to do. Like Brandon was saying, like if you want to sit on the couch to do it with your family, do it. This week I missed a workout because I was sitting down having some quality time with my wife. And was I a little upset that I missed a workout? Yeah. But at the same time, I wasn't doing it because I was sitting scrolling through TikTok. And like Brandon was talking about, it's time. I gave my time for my wife. So that way we could build a stronger relationship. We could have a stronger relationship. And we could move on with what we were doing. So that's what we want for all of you. We're not perfect. We're learning. So let's learn together. We may be farther than you on the journey. You may be farther than us, and you could teach us things. Be the dumbest person in the room. I think I said it last podcast. Let's grow together. There's so many people who probably could listen to this who know way more about podcast and video editing than I do. We just started this 12 weeks ago. And then you could help us. And then maybe you don't know much about running or whatever it is. And we could help you. We could grow together. All of us could grow together. We want to be an accountability coach to you. But that it's two-sided. Accountability is double-sided on all aspects. And that's what we want here at Elevated Freedom. We want to help you. We want to go down that road. It sucks. There's going to be hardships. On that nice road, there's no, like, it's all paved. It's nice. Like I said it before. It's good. It's like, wow. It's, brand new paved roads. But on the other road, it's not. You're going to have hard times. It's hard. It's treacherous. It's stressful. There's going to be bad things that happen on that road. But you just keep pushing forward. And how you do that, like Brandon was talking about, is through the accountability. Because I wouldn't be, like Brandon, we talked about it in the same episode. We talked about it this week. I would not be where I'm at. After we finished the 10 miler, I remember having a conversation with Brandon. I said, we got to this point where we've lost a bunch of weight. We've just crushed our first event. But now it's not really about that. Like, the weight is gone. That's great. but now it's more. There's more. There's bigger goals to hit. The weight is not going to be as like shot down as it was before. Now we have to focus on other things. So we need to move forward. And we had that conversation. We had the understanding. We kept pushing forward. Now, like, weight isn't a conversation. I know in the beginning it was like, man, dude, I'm tired of feeling fat. I'm tired of not looking in the mirror. That's not a conversation. Like, I feel good as fuck in the mirror. But now it's like, well, you know, my pace was a little different. So that we talk about it, we figure it out. And I want to do that for you. And he wants to do it for you. Let's do it together. Let's build this community together.
It's worth every hard time you go through to get to where we are, like you said. And that moment after the 10 miler is exactly what I was talking about earlier. Those are the moments where you're like, well, I did it, right? I feel good. I ran 10 miles. I can quit now. I did everything I wanted to do. I'm in shape. I can back off now. But this is where the accountability comes in, and you talk it out with the people that you trust and the people that are there to help you, and you keep going because you know you're on this path with somebody else, and somebody else cares about you, and somebody else is going to do it. Something else I was thinking about, someday, everybody listening to this, you're going to walk around, you're going to see people wearing EFC, Elevated Freedom gear, and you're going to realize that that person is somebody you can sit down and have a real conversation with about the things you're trying to do with your life, with the goals you're trying to reach, the triathlon you're trying to do, the marathon you're trying to run. Those are going to be people that are going to look at you with no judgment based on what goals you have and what you want to accomplish. And that's everything we want to build. This is going to be a tree. Like Matt said, it's me and him right now. We want to find people out there that we can help, that we can give the stuff that we've learned over the last year together. We want to give you the tools that we've gained, and we want to coach you into accomplishing all your goals. And then we want you to go out there and do the same thing for somebody else. This isn't about us, right? We want to start the change. We want to be the start of the change. But it's everybody out there that's listening and everybody else we want to help that's going to help us do that, because we can't do it alone. It's about you guys. So join us on that journey, man. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be someday, like I said, you're going to go around, you're going to see EFC hats, shirts, gear at the gym, whatever. And those are going to be your people. That's going to be your community. That's going to be your extended family. And those are the people that you know you can go to and you can get that accountability you need. So heck yeah, man.
I'm super excited for that, dude. I can see it in the future. You know, it might be a little biased because we're in it, but I know it's going to be there because the concept of it is helping other people. A lot of people are in the business to like, oh, I'm in the business to make money, which money is power. We've talked about it. We talked about it with financial, the financial pillar, financial fitness. But I just want to help people. That's all I want. I know Brandon's the same way. That's all we want here at Elevated Freedom, is to help people.
That was literally a conversation for the podcast. We said, man, we're doing this because we want to do this, because we don't need to do this, right? We both have jobs. You know, you're becoming a pilot. I'm doing my stuff. Like this isn't a necessity for us. This isn't how we make our living. We want to do this because we want you guys to have what we gain through this. And that's what it's all about, man. And like you said, money's power, and, you know, this is a business, you know, whatever. But at the end of the day, we just want to help you so you can go out there and help somebody else, and they can help somebody else and be the change. That's what Elevated Freedom is. That's what it stands for. We're going to be the change for the everyday people to go out there and crush every goal they want to crush. And that's it, man.
That's it. That's all. That's all we need.
Mic drop.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say, you know? Just, you know, Elevated Freedom on all socials. Let's get into it. Do the questionnaire. This is our first video podcast. I'm pointing right at you. Do the questionnaire so we can help you, so we can build together. How awesome does it sound to be surrounded by people that have the same mindset as you, instead of the people who are going to try to pull you down? Get on there, do the questionnaire, give us the support so we can grow together, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Not make you work. Yeah.